everyone, it's Genevieve reporting for MCM Buzz. I am here with Poppy Drayton, star of the Shannara Chronicles on MTV. How are you enjoying MCM Comic Con?
I am really enjoying MCM Comic Con.
Is it your first con in London? Because you did Comic Con last year in San Diego.
Yeah, we did. It is my first London one. I've never done one here before, but it's quite nice to be in my own city and sort of get to chat to people, and yeah, to have it in my hometown is really, really lovely.
So to start off, can you tell us a bit about your background in acting, since this is your biggest project to date, so that fans can know a bit more about you?
Sure. Well, I acted ever since I was a kid. I travelled quite a lot when I was growing up. I lived in sort of Cyprus and Canada and Holland and Belgium and New York. So acting was the one thread that was always constant in my life. So I was always that girl who would go to the drama club and find out what was going on, and then go to the next school and then find out where the drama club was there. So I was always doing it ever since I was a kid. And then it got to the age when I was about 17, and I was like, you have to sort of start deciding what you want to do. And I thought I'd give drama school a go. So I applied to all these drama schools, and I got in somewhere at Arts Ed, and I went and trained for 3 years in London and graduated, and then just started working professionally. And I was lucky enough to play Romeo and Juliet as my first job at drama school, which was amazing. So that was wonderful, and from then it just sort of carried on, and I've been really, touch wood, really lucky.
Well, the show's been renewed, so that's certainly lucky.
It's brilliant.
So it's a very visual show with a lot of effects and whatnot, and of course you don't see that when you're filming the show. So what were the most striking images for you in actually watching the show compared to when you were filming it?
Well, it is very interesting, because you spend so long creating these images in your mind and imagining these really vivid pictures that you can then visualize when you're acting, and then you do it and you end up obviously just looking at a wall or a bit of green screen. And so then when you do finally get to see the show and you get to see the finished product and you get to see whatever beautiful CGI thing they've created on screen, it's amazing, because it's always 10 times better than what you've imagined in your mind. So it's really exciting. But the best thing probably for me to see was the palace, because I hadn't seen, I knew roughly what it was going to look like, but the scale of it, and that beautiful shot where they zoom out and you can see the whole palace and the grounds and the Elcrees, and I just took my breath away. I thought it was stunning.
And the show starts off for you with a very physically demanding task of you running getting kicked or punched and all of that. So what sort of physical training did you do to prepare for that, and just the action on the show in general? Yeah,
well, we arrived 3 weeks before, and we trained really hard. We had horse riding every day, and we had a personal trainer every day, and we had sword fighting every day, and we were obviously doing rehearsals and stuff with Jonathan as well. So it was a pretty rigorous 3 weeks, but great. And it really sort of, it was essentially like a boot camp, and it really sort of got you not only physically into shape, but really mentally into the right headspace to start a job, because you did feel like you could just take on anything and tackle anything, and so you had this real, like, come on, let's do this kind of attitude. So yeah, it was awesome. It was really good. And then knackering, but good.
Another big part of Amberly's story is the love relationship with Will, and you and Austin play very well together. Did you know right away that you had that type of chemistry, or?
Yeah, I think we just really got on. We really get on as people, so it was really nice to just have a play and have a go, and we both really chucked ourselves into it and just automatically found it really easy. So it was really nice that translated hopefully on screen, because we just had such a blast and such a fun time doing it. So yeah, that's really nice.
Because even last year when you were doing press together at Comic-Con, you could already tell there was chemistry.
Well, we just giggle all the time. Like, we just have a great time. We just play around like kids, like he's like a brother. So it was really, really nice.
And there's a bit of a love triangle on the show, but thankfully it sort of deviated away from that, where it became more of a friendship between the two girls. So was that something that you felt positively for, that it kind of flipped the trope on its head, I guess you could say?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the things that's really interesting about our love triangle in the series, is because it's not the typical love triangle. It's not like two girls vying for the same guy, and it's not as easy as that, and love never is easy. Never. So what's nice is that sometimes Will and I are closer, and then sometimes Eritrea and I are closer, and then sometimes Will and Eritrea are closer. So there's a real interesting shift, and it never settles in one or other for too long, which I think is really interesting, and it keeps, hopefully, the viewers on their toes. And I just like it when me and Eritrea are really close, and then Will is sort of floundering and doesn't know what to do, because it's always nice to see the boys like struggling.
Because that's kind of a problem, is that it's always two women fighting
exactly.
for the guy.
And it's so boring always having that. You want to, like, you know, women power and like solidarity and your womenhood. Yeah, so
it was a good way to mix things up a bit, because at first I was going, oh no, love triangle, like, MTV, what are you doing?
Yeah, not
but
again.
pleasantly it took a different turn, which is good. So you mentioned in some of your other press about the ears, which of course everyone always wants to know about. You said it takes 45 minutes long, so what do you do to kill time when you're getting your ears on?
I just
do you have a ritual or like meditate or something?
No, I wish I did. I just sort of chat to everyone. I would just have a good old natter to my lovely hair and makeup lady who would be putting them and applying them on. So we'd be discussing sort of, gosh, everything. You just chat away, and we would always, we would just find things to talk about. I should have probably been resting and sort of trying to keep up on sleep, but I'm just a terrible chatter, and so given any opportunity I'll just chat. So
well, that's good. And then being that the show is more youth oriented, do you feel like a responsibility to be the role model for all of the young viewers, because MTV tends to have that demographic tune into a lot of their programming?
Yeah, well, definitely. And that's something, I mean, on all the jobs I've done so far, I haven't really felt that as much, because obviously our demographic hasn't been this young. But you do have a real sense of wanting to prove people, you know, wanting to represent young women and to stand up for what, you know, we feel should be stood up for. And I think that's the wonderful thing about this, is that you have the chance to get a message across to young girls, and I would love to get a message across to young girls that they can do anything that their male counterparts can do, and that they shouldn't feel inferior for any reason, and that they should strive to just follow their dreams. And that's all we can really do in this life, is to just find out what you want to do and go for it, because life's too short and time goes so quickly, and otherwise you'll just be kicking yourself when you're old and grey, and that's not easy to do when you're old and grey, because you can't kick yourself that well or easily.
And of course, because it's from a book series, so you have a potential idea of where the story might go, but in terms of what's actually going to manifest on the script, how far in advance do you know where your character, or just the show in general,
you mean the first series, whether we how much we knew? Well, we were sort of drip fed what our characters were going to be doing, and so we were sort of drip fed the scripts all the way through. I think sometimes they give you all of them in one go, and then sometimes they do that. I think it just depends on the show. But with us, they did drip feed it, so you'd have to ask them why they did that. But it was kind of nice. It kept you on your toes, and it kept you as an actor not knowing what was going to come next. So there's that element of genuine mystery, because you don't know how it's actually going to pan out, and so it's kind of exciting and keeps it more alive, maybe.
And is it more pressure to have that source material present, or is it helpful to you in playing the character?
No, I thought it was really helpful. I mean, I'm a bit of a dork, and I like to do loads of prep, so I loved the whole research side, and I loved learning about his books and learning about his world that he created and all his other books, and sort of really finding out as much as I could. So I really relished that. And also it just gives you a stronger foundation to then base your character on, and to then, you know, work on the series from, because you have all that material that you can then work off. And also Terry was there for a lot of it, like at the beginning. So if you had a question, you could just go to him, and he obviously had all the answers. So that was really helpful too. But it feels really lovely working on something with such a body of work behind it, because you just feel that bit more secure in what you're doing.
And then to wrap things up, so being that you are at a convention and there's lots of fans, do you have any memorable fan encounters that you've had since being on the show?
Well, I did meet someone at Comic-Con that was completely like head to toe in green, which was pretty cool. And lots of people go with like the full-on like huge body paint, which I think is fabulous. And I think the more of that, the better, really. Glitter and full body paint really impresses me. So, hi, I'm Poppy Drayton, and you're watching MCM Buzz.